Good morning, folks. It is showtime. Welcome to TeaFlix Tuesday. My fearless co-host and co-producer, Angela, is down for the count with a pulled muscle in her back. So I won't repeat that too much, but I know a lot of you will be wondering where she is, but she is fine. She sends her love. And today we are very excited on TeaFlix, where, as you know, we explore stories of change makers building better communities, one project and sometimes one pancake at a time. Today, we're heading to Anderson, Indiana to meet two local legends, Darla and Gary Sallee. Gary is an attorney, car racing enthusiast, and former Playa del Racing team owner, and an entertainment industry veteran legal eagle with deep roots in community service. Darla is a dynamic speaker, organizer, and advocate for belonging, known for creating safe and welcoming spaces wherever she goes, from their Cirque du Soleil to her pop-up holiday bars, and now the diner that we're going to talk all about today. Together, they own and operate the Toast Cafe, a warm, welcoming diner where everyone has a seat at the table. But beyond the breakfast rush, these two have dedicated their lives to revitalizing Anderson through business, mentorship, and civic engagement. So we're diving into their journey from law and fundraising to sausage gravy and community building, and what it means to serve your hometown with purpose. So grab your favorite mug, settle in, and join us as we talk business, belonging, and building something that truly matters. Welcome to our guests today, Darla and Gary Sallee. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you, Ruth.
Hi, Ruth. Good morning.
Hi, good to see you. Yeah, I see people are piling on, so I just wanted to reiterate for those who are just joining, Angie's pulled a muscle in her back, so she's been given a timeout today, but she sends her love to everybody. So how on earth, let's start at the beginning and then we can work backwards. With being so busy in Anderson, both of your careers, what on earth possessed you to say, hey, we haven't got enough to do. I think we'll renovate that old closed down diner?
Yeah, I guess that's my fault. I'll take full blame here. The Toast Cafe has just been in the Anderson community for just a million years. This 70-year-old establishment, and so it was changing hands and having a couple issues, and I just didn't want to see anything happen to it. It means a lot to my family personally. I went to the Toast with my parents and take my grandkids, and so I wanted them to have that same opportunity. So we had to jump in and take care of a few things for it.
So we made a commitment to renovate a building, and what we didn't understand at the time was the renovation was going to take 3 times longer than anticipated and at least 5 times more money than we thought we should have to spend. But it's open now. It's vital. It's doing well, and it's been a big improvement to that area of downtown Anderson. I think the community is grasping what we've done, and they're trying to support us.
Well, how long was it closed down for?
Oh, goodness. It closed for a few months before we purchased it. And then once we purchased it, it was about a year and a half of solid renovations to get it up and moving and looking pretty again.
And when we say renovations, we're talking about renovations from 6 feet underground to the roof. Everything had to be redone because the water supply wasn't sufficient. The septic and sewer lines had to be replaced. And then we had to take out everything from the inside. The only thing that was left was the actual roof and the concrete perimeter walls. So we have changed everything else. It would have been cheaper and faster to start over.
Yeah, but then, you have that beautiful stonework and the roof is the roof, and people are, especially foodies, even, from all the way up from a Michelin star down to, a local diner. Foodies they're purists about that kind of history.
Right. That's really why I wanted to keep as much as humanly possible that we could reuse. So I agree with that, certainly.
And so you've also doing stuff in the space outside, right?
Yes, I'm really excited about that. We have created, it used to be a drive around and a few parking spots in the back, but we I had to cement all of that and put in new areas. So we decided to make it into a patio. And so we've done a local muralist. He came in, Philip George came in, did just a lovely mural for us. It's unbelievable. So we're excited about that. And then our friends, Vern's Contracting, his concrete company did a stage for us. So we're doing live music on the weekends and really just trying to brunch it up out there. So it's been fun.
Brunch it up. You should put that on a T-shirt.
Yeah, you're right. Actually,
on a big piece of toast, so people will get it.
Pat Keogh just said that toast is such a jewel in downtown Anderson. So we have some people on here who know.
Yes, that's right. So Anderson has certainly benefited not just from the toast, but talk to me a little bit, Darla, about your other work especially in music world, because we have a lot of music fans on. How did you get involved with the Anderson Symphony?
Well, I have always loved symphonic music since I was a kid. My 16th birthday, my parents asked me what I wanted to do, and I wanted them to take me to the Indianapolis Symphony Orchestra. So that's how I spent my 16th birthday as a young kid. So that has always been an important part of my life. The position for the Anderson Symphony came open, and I've always worked in nonprofits. My background is social work. So I've worked for the better part of my life in nonprofits, worked for the city for a while, was ready to get back into the nonprofit scene. And so went back with the symphony and have just thoroughly enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed working with musicians, especially. That's my first love, I think.
Right. And now, so what is the population roughly of Anderson?
Around 55,000.
Okay. And so is the symphony a full-time job for people, or do they have day gigs and then play in the symphony as a second fiddle? See what I did there?
Yeah. Nicely done. And you're exactly right. That is what they do. They have their day jobs, and then they're professional musicians as well. A lot of them are teachers in school systems throughout the state, actually, and they come in and they play for us as a side gig. So we're lucky to have them, and Anderson's lucky to have the Anderson Symphony Orchestra. It's really it's the crown jewel of our arts community, and we have a really vibrant arts community. So we're pleased to be able to be a big part of that.
Yeah, normally when you think of a symphonic orchestra, you think of bigger cities, right? Like, Chicago,
Right.
New York, what have you. But I was very surprised when I was getting to know you and working on the Toast website that Anderson had a symphony. And I think music is so important for not just everybody, but children's education. It develops the brain, it develops the mind. Now, Gary, you've had a little experience in the music industry too, on the legal side, right, on the contract side.
Yes, I have. And for almost 40 years, I've represented entertainers, musicians, producers, promoters, owned a little record label, as you knew, when I lived in Playa del Rey. Chuck Goff and I started Little Chucky Records, and we had a couple of acts on there. And so it's been a fun experience for me. I have done that often and a lot, actually. I was recalling that we have a common friend and former common friend in Benny Mardones. Right. And I was recalling last night when Chuck Goff and Christian Kane and Benny Mardones and Martin were all up in your sound booth doing vocals for a song that Benny had written and Christian Kane sang. And I forget the name of that song. When Love Runs Away, or When Love Goes Away, or something like that. But that was such a fun night there in Playa del Rey. And I think everyone enjoyed it. I have a couple of pictures of that. I should have dug those out.
Send them to me. That would be fun. That would be really fun. You also had some fun experiences with, speaking of late and great, like Benny Mardones, with one of my favorite artists ever, Toby Keith. Yeah,
Toby and I were good friends, and he lived a life that we should all be proud of and happy about. And such a great performer and a great entertainer. And he had so many fans across genres. And my experiences with him are some of the highlights of my life. In fact, I think we may have taken you and Martin, or maybe you, Martin, and Angie to a Staples Center show, did we not?
No, but we met you guys afterwards in the Harbor Room, which
yeah, that's yeah.
That's probably where Paul Moody, who's one of our viewers, is sitting right now. It's the smallest bar in LA County. I think it's got like 5 bar stools and it holds like 18 people. And then
it has a 2-top there by the door going into the Italian restaurant, Cantalini's, my favorite Italian restaurant in the world. Right. This little bar is no bigger than the room that we're in here, or it's not as big as our living room.
It's tiny. It's absolutely tiny. And the funny thing is it just says open, but don't expect much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they still have a cigarette machine, but it sells T-shirts now. They've jerry-rigged their cigarette machine.
Awesome.
Oh my gosh. Paul Moody's like, yep, I'm here.
Hi, Paul.
Sitting in the Harbor Room. Oh, that's absolutely wild. But yeah, no, I mean, imagine my surprise. The Harbor Room's one of those places, though, in Playa. You know, you could walk in on any given day and see Phil Jackson and one of the Lakers sitting there at the end of the bar, you know, after a game, or walk in and run into you and Toby Keith. Or it's a true dive bar. But boy, what a spot! You were telling me something about you were out on the road with Toby one Christmas and something funny happened with a fan.
Oh, no. He was in town for something. I think a television show or something. And we went up to Sunset Strip to that country bar, the name of which I can't remember. And I was in there probably once a month.
They change hands so quick.
Yeah. But they had Christmas trees all around the perimeter of the bar. And we were sitting on a table next to the wall, which we always like to do. And this a good-sized girl from Louisville, Kentucky, I remember that, was just demanding to get a picture with him. And she wanted Toby's manager to take a picture with a box camera while she came around behind Toby. And so Toby said, okay. She came around and knocked the Christmas tree over. And it was a big tree. Knocked the Christmas tree over on all of us. We had glitter and tinsel on her for days on end.
I know. That's one thing with glitter. You keep finding it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And often that's a hard story to tell.
Yeah.
It's a hard word. I was out at a business dinner. Sure you were. Absolutely. That's why you're covered in glitter. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, my goodness me. So, Darla, you are known obviously locally as a passionate advocate for community connection. How do you still carry that mission into the cafe walls as far as, you know, I don't know, benefiting charities? Or didn't you recently have to step up as a photo location for a local high school or local college because of the bad weather?
Yeah, there was a group of prom students who were wanting to go to prom. We're ready to take those outdoor pictures, and it was pouring down rain. So we opened up the toast and let them come in and get their photos. It turned out so great. It was really fun. It was very enjoyable to have them there with us, and to see the pictures and how that turned out, and just be a little bit of a part of their day. So, and have the toast play a part in their lives. And plant that little seed for them to come back someday and bring their kids and talk about having their prom pictures taken there. And
right.
So, well, I mean, you know, yeah, go ahead.
It'll be in the family photo albums for all history, won't it?
No, that's right. That's right. So the toast is just always, it's been that part of the community. So that was really important to us. But we've also done other things in the community that we hope have been helpful. With Cirque du Soleil, we've done pop-up bars. So we did Jingles, which was a Christmas pop-up bar. And then we did Wrecked, which was a tiki pop-up bar. And we did those for 2 months each, and then the proceeds from that went to downtown nonprofits, arts organizations within Anderson. So we really have enjoyed doing that, and being able to spend some time just connecting with people. And ultimately, I think that's what it's about, just community, a sense of community.
It's the best excuse for a cocktail I've ever heard in my life.
That too.
One important feature of the community aspect of that is that the beneficiaries of those programs volunteered to be servers and bartenders and that sort of thing. So they got to meet the community that they wouldn't otherwise meet while raising money for their charities. We just pretty much funded the decorations and the rent and the inventory, and they did most of the work. And when Darla came to me and said, Gary, we're going to spend, this is not going to cost that much. We're going to spend $30,000, but we're going to recoup it in 2 months. And I go, that's the business model I don't quite understand. But she was able to do that and donate almost that amount of money to the charities. It was highly successful in a 2 month period of time. Now there was a period, a 1 month of loading in and 1 month of striking, was we were using other people's property, but it was a nice little. And I think we're doing jingles again this year. I don't know if this is an official announcement or not. But,
it can be. Get ready.
But right now we're just a liquor license away from doing it again this year.
And I'm assuming it's easier to get a liquor license in Indiana than it is in Los Angeles, California.
Well, actually, no. And not in this county. The liquor licenses are handed out based upon population, and there are no liquor license available. So when we bought a liquor license for the Toast, we had to buy the liquor license from a Ruby Tuesdays that went out of business and transferred their license to us.
Wow. It's like getting a job.
We don't will on anyone, but we do need someone to go out of business before October.
Well, how lovely.
That's very community spirit minded of you.
There it is.
There it is. Wow, I didn't realize it's like getting a job at Oktoberfest in Munich. My former mother-in-law, my last husband's mother, had a job there for years that she was left in her aunt's will. You can't just show up and say, I want to work Oktoberfest because there's lots of tips. You have to literally be willed it in somebody's last will and testament, or they retire and nominate you, and then you have to get seconded, and then you have to go and pass all of these tests and auditions and run around with 14 full beers. And it's you don't just front up to the Oktoberfest and say, got any jobs?
Yeah, we got to keep that in mind at the Toast Cafe. Server succession plan.
How many pancake plates can you balance, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But you're I know pancakes are a big thing with diners, but you guys are famous for your biscuits, aren't you?
Yes, we are. And I'll take this part of it if you don't mind, Darla. We knew that we had to keep the basic classic American diner menu. So we have that. We have all the omelets, the bacon, the eggs, and that sort of thing. But we also were looking for that unique product offering that was not available really anywhere in the region in a classy, upscale way. So we tested biscuits, we tested sizes, and we've ended up with what we consider our best option for biscuits, and they're 5 inches in diameter. Wow. I like to call them double D biscuits.
Wow, I mean that's not biscuits, that's satellite dishes.
Yeah, and then we stack them full of stuff, chicken.
Wow.
And then we have a Nashville hot chicken with pimento cheese on it and pickles, and we have.
I'll be right there.
Here's a unique product offering that we have. It's called the mullet biscuit, and it is Spam and a couple of other things. Spam and eggs and bacon all on a biscuit.
Well, maybe throw some grilled pineapple in there. Why not?
Yeah, and we smother it with gravy, and so
Ooh.
it's a fun little line of biscuits too as well. So
That's amazing. Well, I wonder if there's a biscuit Olympics we should put you guys up for.
Well, probably there are a couple of chain biscuit restaurants around, but we think that actually we've had people come in that are in the hotbed of one of the bigger chains and said our biscuits are much better than theirs. So I go, okay, one man's opinion probably carries the vote.
Yeah. Well, no, but yours are made with love, and those are delivered frozen from Cisco, probably.
Yes, they are.
exactly.
And ours are made every night. They're
Fresh.
fresh the next day.
Oh man, nothing
Yeah,
like
we do all fresh food.
Wow. That's an incredible. I mean, from knowing nothing about the restaurant industry into what was the biggest surprise you guys came across? Was it margins or staffing or actual staffing?
Staffing is the biggest problem for neophytes in the business. We didn't know what we were doing either. We hired a really good general manager who has a lot of experience, but this has been a challenge even for her. The staffing for the most part and product sourcing. When our eggs increased by 300% and our menu price didn't, that was a challenge. But eggs have come back down a little bit now.
A little bit, yeah. It's just always amazing to me that the knock-on effect that something like that can have, or like, we don't get into politics here, but tariffs, if they come, they come. If they don't, they don't. But if they come, everybody, like my local Trader Joe's, all the sign makers, because they're all handwritten signs, they're all like now trying to figure out how much it's going to cost in overtime for them to go back and hand do all of the signs on everything imported in the store, all the wines and the cheese, So it's like one knock-on effect, like the price of eggs goes up. Do you raise your prices and then you got to reprint your menu?
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
It's the trickle down is never easy when you're at the bottom, is it?
Right. This has been quite the learning experience for us in all faucets. We didn't really know exactly how to run a restaurant, but we're figuring it out as we go. So and enjoying it along the way.
Yeah, it is definitely, as we represent a whole bunch of chefs and restaurants, and it's just the product sourcing. David Skinner down in Ishtia in Houston, he has a Choctaw restaurant, so he tries to buy all of his products from Native American growers and farms and butchers and winemakers and this, that, and the other. But the sourcing of it, and then he tries to do it from within 100 miles of his restaurant, but of course there aren't a lot of Native American farms in Houston, so then you're faced with transportation costs and all of these other things and fluctuating pricing. So it's margins and menu pricing is margin edge and things like that. It's absolutely crazy, because you may think what a plate of bacon and eggs costs, but it might not cost that 3 weeks from now. Right?
That's exactly right. It's a challenge for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's one of the, but again, you are doing yeoman's work for the city of Anderson, and I'm sure they're, supporting you. Do you have any advice for somebody who wants to start a community-centered, either a business or a pop-up, like you? I mean, just philosophically, where did you guys come from when you finally signed on the toast and said, yeah, we're going to do this, come hell or high water?
Well, I can provide an answer from the outside, because all the inside thinking and all the inside work was Darla and her friends and her connections within the community, especially at the pop-up bars. And then as we start developing the toast, I kind of lost my train of thought there, but the interaction and the relationship of the people in the community to the project was very surprising to me. And Darla told me that was going to come. And I just, as an attorney, we always look for the worst possible scenario and how to protect against that. And Darla said, kind of like, if we build it, they will come. And that has just come forth in great numbers. Yeah.
Right. And to an attorney, that's a huge risk. Like he's the linear thinker of the group. I'm like, oh no, just trust me, it'll be fine. And so, but that's exactly right. And you mentioned that just a few minutes ago that the community has been outrageously supportive. And we've got to hear stories about people's interactions with their loved ones and their friends and family at the toast, and so that really just makes it all worth it. So, and as far as advice or anything like that, I think I would just I love outside of the box thinking. I think I would just say trust yourself. You know, if you have that idea and it meets a need, consider vetting that with a few close friends that you trust and say, hey, what do you think about this idea? Because I think that we have these great thoughts, but we don't trust ourselves enough to really go for it. And that's one of the things I think that make us a really good partnership is he's always, even when he thinks it's a horrible business plan and model and it's not going to make any money, he's still supportive. You know,
that's great.
His big thing is that's a terrible idea. When are we starting? So then he said that to me a few times.
An example of Darla's work and her thinking and her joining people in the community together is the 8th Street Gaslight Festival that she brought back. Was it 2 years ago? You've had 2 of them now, right?
Yeah.
This will be the 3rd one, but there was a famous community festival surrounding the gas lights that are along the street. They were originally real gas lights. And Darla just one day or 1 year said, I want to bring that back. So she started vetting that with 5 or 6 other women, all who live on this 8th Street corridor. And the 6 of those women, or whatever, the 5 or 7 of them, just put it together. And in the first year, they had 7,000 attendees. And last year, they had about 10,000 attendees.
Yeah, we doubled it to 14 last year. So, yeah, when we're planning, and in fact, I was just working on that a little bit before we came on here. So yeah, just gonna keep building back those things that were really important to the community that for whatever reason have gone by the wayside. And so I think in everybody's community, there's those things that we all love and remember and want to bring back from our childhood, you know? So
I think, you know, COVID and the lockdown went a long way for people wanting nostalgia and when it was the good old days and the good times and, you know, biscuits and street festivals. You know, we all harken back to the days. There's BC, before COVID, right? And then after COVID, AC. And I think that, you know, for the grown-ups amongst us who lived through that, essentially a 5-year period, it's 5 years since COVID. Getting back to normal it's like a plate of mashed potatoes or a big hug. It's like, oh, I remember this, you know, and I think that's what you guys seem to excel in with, you know, the pop-ups for charity and then the 8th Street Festival and the Toast Cafe. That I think there will always be a place in every society for, you know, nostalgia and just the sort of the warm fuzzies that it brings.
Agreed. And it's necessary.
Yes, for mental health too. You see so many things now. People are running around and, you know, staring at their phones, driving with their damn phones out. That's what amazes me. The amount of times I have to honk my horn at a traffic light when it turns green. It's like, it's every day. Sitting there in this little box. I'm like, get outside and do something nostalgic, people. So how does it work with you obviously as a very cautious attorney and you as a do anything we can do this all, you know, dreamer, vision quest girl? Do you always agree on all the products you're going to do, or do you, Darla, do you ever listen to Gary and if he says no, we're not, nah, that's not going to work?
I think I think I'm more comfortable agreeing now than when we first started our relationship.
Okay, that makes
Because
sense.
I have seen the success that she's had with ideas that didn't make sense to me when we talked about them.
I
Okay.
sometimes just get a gut feeling that I know something's going to work, and I have so far I've been right. So, but one time, probably the thing I tease him about the most is one time me just saying, you know, I've always wanted to have a bookstore that also has a stage in it, that you have different kinds of art in there, that you coffee, cocktails, whatever, and you have this experiential place for folks to just come and be and experience and relax, and he's shot that down for years and years and years and years, and finally I've got him to the place where I think that we're going to be able to do that sometime.
Well, I may be able to tip it over the edge for you, Darla, because you know that's how Virgin Records and the whole Virgin Empire started. Richard Branson produced his college rag mag, like, you know, graphic novel magazine cartoon thing, and they used to go to the library at college. And then when he moved to London, he's like, oh, I could have all these cool like rock and roll magazines, and people could bring their vinyl in, and I'll have a record player and some good speakers, and people could bring their music, and then I'll have somebody come in and sell tea and sandwiches, and they can hang on beanbags and spend, you know, and make a community thing. And then he started selling records, and then he started signing bands, and then Virgin Records was built, and then Virgin was a brand, and then the airlines and the cruises and the credit cards.
Yeah.
Right. And it all came from hanging out.
Yeah. That's awesome. I'm a huge fan of his. He is so wise. I love him. So that's funny that you mentioned him, but yes, that's how
the brand started. It was just come and bring your records, buy my tea, and that better be Mrs. McCartney's tea, by the way. Buy my tea and biscuits, and you've already got the biscuits made. And it was a sort of a Tuesday night music club. People used to bring their vinyl, and he provided nice speakers and a vinyl record player. And then he started introducing stuff and selling it and making money, and that was where the brand was born.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that Angie is not on the podcast today, and we just mentioned that she has Mrs. McCartney's teas. We have people, I think, that like us and know us who are probably watching. So now maybe we give a shout out to
thank you,
Mrs. McCartney's teas. Got some Beatle references, but mostly just good old fashioned tea.
Yep, we have Maharishi Peach, Penny Lane Peppermint. What else Abbey Road Apple, all kinds of stuff at Mrs. McCartney's teas.com. Yeah, but that's the other big brand, BMG. The music label, Bertelsmann Music Group, that started out as a bookstore. It was a lending library that Mrs. Bertelsmann, Grandma Bertelsmann, put together. And you used to be able to come in, buy a cup of coffee and a pastry in Germany, and take a book and leave a book. Do you remember that in Outlaws, Gary and Play in the back room? It was sort of you could take a book as long as you left a book. And then she started actually renting the books, and then it became the book club, and then it became Time Life licensed the idea from them remember the Time Life record clubs?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And that all came from Grandma in a bookstore selling coffee and pastries and lending books and then renting books, and then it became the Bertelsmann Music Group and one of the biggest record labels in the world. And you know how to do that because you've already done one.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, see? See?
Gary's
going to text me later going, thanks a lot.
We're going to have to get this short so we can get started on the library.
Exactly. Oh, man. Sammy in Atlanta is just saying she went to a grad party last Saturday and she saw a kid in a t-shirt. That's a terrible idea. When do we start? I've actually seen it on a t-shirt.
That's great.
That is totally wild. Oh my Lord. So we talked a little bit because you're in Indiana, which is obviously very famous for not just the Brickyard, but all the other stuff that goes with it. Now, Gary, you had a background in racing cars too, didn't you?
Yes. Back in the late 80s, early 90s, I owned a sports marketing company. And one of the drivers that we represented, we couldn't find a seat for in a race car because of personality issues for the most part. And but we had some sponsorship money, so we decided, what the heck, let's just go start an IndyCar team. And we did, kind of like Darla's idea. We were somewhat successful. We won a few races. We finished third in the Indy 500 once, had 3 different Rookie of the Year drivers during our stint there. And so that was a fun part of my life, again, jumping into something I knew very little about and competing at the highest level.
Wow.
I think the year that Jeff Ward finished third, I think we were leading the Indy 500 with 8 laps.
Wow.
Left. So we had to make a pit stop and finish third. It was a fun time. And then when I restarted the race team with others, I was living in Playa del Rey, a block from your office. Right. So we named it Playa del Racing, which kind of loosely
I remember it well.
But so we tried it again, had some success there again, and then when you lose your sponsorships for various reasons, you lose your revenue, and we had to bail out on that. But it was fun. It was a really good experience, and not as hard. It's not as hard to race the Indy 500 as it is to renovate a diner in downtown Anderson.
Really?
Wow, it was an experience.
Even if, well, I would say one is very high speed and one is just the opposite. Right?
Just chilling, making biscuits and candy.
Just chilling and waiting for the building permits and the liquor license and
all of that.
The paint to dry and the plumbing to, oh my goodness me. So that's incredible that you've all done so many, you both done so many different things. Is there one area that is your favorite? Is it what you do for day jobs now, or is it, which is also including the toast? Is it hospitality, or doesn't it matter? Is it just the feeling of giving back?
Oh, that's such a good question.
I liken it to a lot of other things in life. Whatever I'm doing now seems to be my favorite period, because that's where the mind is. That's where the emotions are. Darla does not know that I have emotions, by the way. But
this is news.
We're breaking 2 newses today.
Yeah. So
spilling 2 cups of tea.
I dive so deeply into whatever I'm doing in the moment that I think that's my favorite time, my favorite period, my favorite thing. Although we've had a lot of fun. I have a lot of memories, and so does Darla. Darla shares memories of things she's done. That's
great. And so how do you guys keep your sanity as not just business partners, but as a married couple? Do you have separate hobbies, or do you just have sort of time away from each other, or do you just dig in like Martin and I do 24/7 and go for it?
24/7.
Yeah, we work kind of around the clock. So Gary likes to say where it's a time where everybody just works all the time, and then you get to play all the time. So that's we work hard and work hard for the different organizations that we're involved with, and then are able to have some downtime when we need to do that, just to relax a little bit and rest up for the next thing.
Well, that's what's so great about being in the Midwest, isn't it? You really are in the center of everything. You can pop to New York and see a show, or you can pop to Chicago or over to Seattle or whatever. You're right in the thick of everything. As far as travel, and it always amazes me how Indiana is on the Eastern time zone. I always think of you guys as so central, like Central Time. You're on Eastern Time, aren't you?
Well, for the longest time, we didn't change times, so we were Eastern half the year and Central half the year.
Oh, that's not confusing at all.
It was confusing. So then, whoever decided we were not going to do that decided Eastern was the place for us, and no one asked for my opinion on that. I would have probably chosen Central, but
that's funny. It's like Cincinnati, Ohio, isn't it? That they international airport, the national terminal changes times, but the international terminal doesn't. So many people miss their flights during daylight savings, because the single airport has 2 time zones, and depending upon what it says on your ticket, which clock you're looking at.
Yeah, that's nuts.
I didn't know that.
Can be a problem in Cincinnati. Yeah, I know lots of people who've missed their flights to Germany or England because they're like, oh, I've got another hour. No, you don't.
No, not really.
Crazy stuff. So talk to the kids a little bit about where they can find you, how else they can support, what else outside of the Toast Cafe is going on, and do you want me to us to create a page on the Toast of other Anderson thingies so that people can go and see and share and get involved?
That's an excellent idea. I love that idea.
We can do that.
Great. Yeah.
That's right. He's
so,
right. That Cincinnati's in Kentucky. Cincinnati Airport's in Kentucky. That's right. It's across the state. That's why. Half of it's in Ohio and the other half's in Kentucky.
That's bizarre.
So yeah, tell us all about how people can find you, how they can support you.
The toastcafe.com is the website that you've created for us, and certainly that you can find a lot of information there. And then social media, the Toast Cafe, and on both Facebook and Instagram. And then the Anderson Symphony, andersonsymphony.com. You can find that there. Let's see. And then jingles, we usually do all social media driven on that. So,
well, and again, if people go and bookmark the toastcafe.com, we will get a resources and events page up shortly, and you can go back to that and see what's going on throughout the year.
Yeah, that's great.
Fantastic. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. I know how busy you are for taking the time to join us today. Sorry, our little midget is down with a pulled muscle, but she sends her love. And yep, absolutely. All of our guests get a limerick because Angie is the limerick lady. So she wrote this before she had lost the fight with the shredder. So I'm going to go ahead and give you your limerick anywho's. And if you are sitting comfortably, then I shall begin.
Thank you.
So, 1, 2, 3. At the Toast, where the kindness is real, every soul gets a warm, hearty meal. With Gary and Darla, life's bigger, not smaller. They show us how love's the real deal. Ta-da!
Well,
thanks to Angie.
That's perfect. I love it.
I will email that to you guys.
Yes.
And get your ass to the Toast Cafe in Anderson, Indiana, if you want the best biscuits in the world. There, I said it.
Thank you, Ruth.
We shall deliver.
Absolutely. All right, my kids. Well, we'll see you all of a sudden, and I'm going to go put some icy hot on the midget, and we'll see you guys next week. Thanks, kids.
You.
All right, love. Bye-bye.